Hey everyone, and welcome to EntrepreNINES. I'm John Wist.
And I'm Bonni Mace. We are two Enneagram 9s who took the big leap into the world of entrepreneurship at a similar time, and this podcast is a space where we are inviting you to laugh and learn with us as we work to build businesses with soul. This is episode number 30.
30?
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Go us.
I feel like that's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It is. I'm a part of, well, this is relevant. We're going to talk about networking today, and I am part of some podcast groups on Facebook. Oh, dear.
Sorry, there was just a little gnat or something in front of my face.
There it is. And yeah, people were talking about like, you know, I'm 5 episodes in, and then everybody always chimes in with like, you get past your first 10.
Yeah.
Like you outdo most podcasts.
Yeah.
And so we did celebrate when we made 10, but now we're triple that.
We've tripled it, which is pretty nuts. So good job, Bonnie.
Go us.
Air high five.
Air five.
Okay, quick aside before we start. Like everybody's talking about doing video podcasts now.
Oh,
and I've been like, oh man, do we do that? But that sounds like, I don't know, that might be too much work. This is just for fun.
Yeah.
So.
Oh dear. Sorry, my mic
It's okay.
Fell down. I was trying to point it up. Yeah, and like my office is still not.
I mean, it's a better set than any place in my house.
That's true. It's the lighting that still is really terrible in here.
Yeah,
but
okay.
you know,
you know
not coming anytime soon. A video podcast.
No. But you do know a guy, so
I do. I do. It's true.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to talk a little bit about networking today because we were just talking about what we wanted to talk about and kind of ended up here because we've got a little something we want to share with you at the end of the podcast that we've been thinking about for a long time.
Yes.
And so we'll get there, but that's the teaser to the teaser. So stick around to the end.
Guys, I can't get my mic stand right.
It's okay.
In other news, we're not Team Tiny Mic anymore. You might hear the difference.
Yeah.
If you pay close attention.
Yep.
And no robot AI editing.
Yeah. I mean, I might run it through it again, but for most part, it's going to be fine the way it is. So yeah, no Team Tiny Mics for now.
Woohoo.
So, okay. Networking. So, let's just start here, Bonnie.
Okay.
So networking, it feels like something that I've read about and seen since the moment I started even thinking about business of my own, right? And I feel like it's something that I've always also steadily pushed away.
I mean, I don't like it
from the moment.
Personally.
So let's just start here. Why do we as 9s want to reject networking?
Oh my gosh. Well, so I do think it matters the subtype that you are. Because, you know, there's 3 subtypes. There's like your self-preservation one, 9s, and there's your one-to-one 9s, and then there's your social 9s. Yeah. I have a feeling the social 9s out there might feel a little differently.
Okay.
Have you identified your subtype yet, John?
I think that we talked about this like a really long time ago. And I want to say that I was like kind of leaning myself towards one-to-one.
That's mine.
Yeah. But that would be my just initial guess. Do you want to give us like a really quick like summary of each one? Can you do that? Sorry. I did not prepare you for this.
Yeah, no, this is totally out of the blue. I could maybe so the overall broad thing is self-preservation, like your motivations skew towards protecting yourself. It's the self-preservation. One-to-one is like you do well with like your person. Yeah. Or your like handful of people. It's like you thrive best in like, have you ever heard the concentric circles of social? Yep. So you really thrive in like that innermost concentric circle. But then when you get in a large group of people, you're like, help. Yep. The social people, they love the large group of people. They can then they're like merging and accommodating skills, and like they can read the whole room. Yeah. So that's my biggest difference is like, I can read the person in front of me. Sure. Very well. Yep. If I, especially if I know you. But you put me in like a large group of people, and okay, so here's an example. I've been trying to like get more involved at the church we've been attending.
Yeah.
So I went to this like play group on Thursday.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a larger group of people.
Yeah.
And there was this pile of tangled up jump ropes and like ball into basket pop, like catch game.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were just totally knotted up.
Okay.
Guess what I did for maybe 60% of the time that I was there?
You sat in a corner by yourself and you unknotted things.
I untangled. I was near other people and listening, but I had to remind myself to leave the knot and like return to the conversation that was happening in the group.
I was near other people.
It'd be like, I would like kind of be talking to someone and then I'd be like, oh, I'm about to get this one out. This one's going to be untangled soon. And then I'd be like, oh, right, I'm here to meet people.
Totally random.
Come back out.
Is it a 9 superpower to unknot things? Because I feel like I'm very good at that as well.
Oh, my mom used to hand me like tangled up necklaces and stuff from like my earliest memory.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe.
All right.
We see how it's all connected.
So but anyways.
That's not networking.
But that is not your reaction there was not social.
Right.
It's a social 9.
Yeah. I mean, that was probably my like escape to my little happy world because reading the entire group is too overwhelming. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So long-winded answer to say, I think some 9s are probably better at networking than others.
Got it.
And we might be the ones that are not very good.
Because we kind of skew towards a one-to-one or self-preservation. Mm-hmm. Okay, got it.
And honestly, I wonder about if you're a self-preservation 9, you'll have to tell me how you do with networking. Because I could also see like, well, I need this person to be thriving.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Okay. That's good.
So I wonder. I don't know.
So we can't throw a blanket statement over 9s. Got it. That's helpful, I think. So some of this might apply to you all and some of it might not because we seem to be kind of in similar camps when it comes to our subtype potentially. And so that might skew how the conversation's going to go. So I guess that's a disclaimer. Yeah. Just you may not feel the same things even though you're a 9. So, okay. So the reason why we want to talk about this, we were talking about a couple different things, couple different ideas we had for upcoming podcasts, but I have tried.
You've been killing it.
I've tried lately.
Yeah.
To do some more networking. And this is highly motivated from this coaching group I'm in because I feel like I'm interacting with about 20, 25 other people who are different than me in different places in their business, in different places around the country and the world. And I'm just learning how they do things. And so part of it is a lot of people have asked, how do we find new leads for work? And the coach of the group has been like, you just got to meet people. Like you got to get in front of people. You got to talk to people. And he's like, my 15, 20 years of business has all been based pretty much out of referral or from networking, from getting in front of people. And so I'm hearing this and going, holy crap, like
my introvert is dying inside listening to you say this.
Yeah, well, I would say there's two parts of it. Like there's a part of relief that's like, oh, thank God I haven't like killed my business just by not being socially social media inept. Like I haven't killed myself that way, but also like there's ways I could be using that to get in front of people rather than just like broadcasting my work or whatever. Like there's other ways to use it. So a while ago I joined Chamber of Commerce for our county, but I haven't done anything. Like I've just watch all the things happen.
Take a baby step.
Like, hi. And, part of that is like they have events and stuff that are at night when I need to be home with my kids. Yeah. And it's just, it's a thing.
Small children era. It's a whole thing.
But the other thing that I decided to do was get more serious about LinkedIn. And so I've kind of spent some more time.
I've seen you there.
Yeah. I'm trying to show up. I got an idea for a post already this week. Like I'm trying to show up once a week for a post and then just kind of, checking every day and just kind of, giving a little high five or thumbs up to people and maybe a comment. I don't know. Yeah. But then also I am like searching out people that I think, or searching out even, not even necessarily people, but like industries or just things in our area that I feel like I could bring some value to. Mm-hmm. And so there's been a couple ways that I've been able to do that. And then also like even the chamber emails, like I'm seeing all these businesses and it's kind of like, like maybe I'll reach out to this person. Mm-hmm. Or driving down the street, you know, like, I don't know. There's so many times, Bonni, where I'm like, we're driving somewhere and I'm like, never seen that business before. I wonder if they need video, you know, like, it's just like, kind of like, oh, I think and sometimes I'm good at writing it down and sometimes I'm not. And, but yeah, it's been more of like an ideation thing to start of like who's around, who exists that I don't know exists basically first. And then just selecting a few to try to establish some like contact with. Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I heard you kind of say through, which I just want to like, this is what my brain does, is start to systematize into things.
Yeah.
So the first thing you said was like the really broad, like social networking, which you're focusing on LinkedIn, and there's all kinds of places. And this conversation is all like renewed because, you know, Threads came out.
Yeah.
And so Threads is mostly people who love social media or love like retro social media.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
At least that's what my feed is.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like how to show up and like which one is your personality or which one is your target market. And so I think your approach is great.
Yeah.
With that, it was just like, I'm going to pick LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Because this is the kind of people I've been working with so far.
Yeah.
And I've had the most success with. And so you like have the wide net, but then you're using like the emails, which is more local.
Yeah.
I'm talking with my hands, which podcast people can't see.
It's okay. That's why we're going to do a video one day.
No. And then kind of like, you know, at least you're nearby and this is like a smaller pool of people to put yourself in front of.
Yeah.
And then you're getting like very hyper local with like, I was in your parking lot.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah. So
basically.
Because it will be like, I messaged a guy and it was like, hey, I passed by your building today and I've noticed it before, but like I looked you up this time and I found out you do this and that sounds really interesting. Like, do you have time to meet up, you know, kind of a thing. And so it's I've learned, and some of it was through failure and some of it was just through more research on like how to interact on LinkedIn, because like it's a very, I don't know, it's just it's
a weird subculture.
It is a weird subculture. And it's also like a lot of people here expect that you are here for business. Like so there's like an underlying expectation that this isn't just like a club to be social in. It's like,
you're going to sell me something here.
Right. Or we can like, there's some sort of some exchange here that will happen maybe eventually. Yeah. And so getting past that in my head, it was like, oh, I don't have to like come right out and be like, hi, I'm a video person, blah, 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 blah. Would you like video? Like, that's not the way to approach it, because they already know why I'm there. Like,
we're going to get around to that.
I'm a video guy. I'm here because I'm a video guy and I would like to work with people. And they know I'm there for that. So let's just start with this sounds interesting. Like, this is why I am like attracted to your business in some way. And so like start there. And so like, it was interesting because I had a meeting with somebody who I reached out to through LinkedIn. And that was one of the things they said. It was like, your approach was really great. Like, you just wanted to get to know me and like what I'm doing. And like, that's really nice because you're not leading. And she's like, I know that like at some point we might be able to work together. Yeah. But it was nice to just be approached as a person.
Like a person. Yeah.
Right. Right. Which I feel like, okay, cool. Like, we're staying on brand here because part of our brand, like, and I'm saying our brand, but like my brand, your brand, and what we kind of are collectively bringing here is
businesses with soul.
Is soul and understanding that people are people, right? And they need to be treated as people. Yeah. And so I think that was kind of an interesting, eye-opening, like, oh, great. Okay. I've got my kind of marching orders moving forward, as in like,
I can be a person.
Treat people as people. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you can be a curious nerd for people.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, because some of it is that. Some of it's just like, wow, I wonder what they do. Yeah. That's weird. Yeah. Like, I've never heard of that before.
I like that.
Yeah. And then like I know this is a little different conversation, and we want to do a podcast about like niching and niches and stuff like that. We'll get there, but it does like it starts to help you understand like what triggers you.
Yeah, what you
like,
get excited
as
about
a person, of like, oh, like that might be cool to work on, So I think that's been helpful too.
Yeah, I mean, I for sure have a story about that because I reached out to my son's principal, and he's given me this like, hey, you're part of PTA, I can't pay you, but here we are. And I'm like, it's fine. But I think that revelation,
like the education space.
Doing this for the teachers at my son's school is fine. But I think that's probably as far as I would like to get because like if they weren't my son, like at my son's school, I think I would really lose, simmer out on it quite quickly. So for me, that has been one benefit of like my meager attempts at networking so far. Yeah. Is like, this one's very clear. Like, oh, this is fine. And, and that's fine. But I think I'd like to be more excited. Like, I think I'd like to be excited to do this work for free. Because turns out I am doing this particular work for free. Right. And so if I'm going to be excited about it enough to do it for free, like, I got to figure out what all that is still. So, yeah, that's been an unexpected benefit.
Yeah. I think that I think like the businesses that you and I are in, what I'm learning, I feel like is like, they could service a wide variety of people.
Oh yeah.
Right. But in order for them to be kind of consistent and I think financially successful, like you kind of have to get narrowed down more because if you're too broad, you're just trying to capture too many people. And
which that will eventually help with networking. Like when you don't feel like I have 400 people to message.
Right. Well, and that's what I was going to say is just like, and I feel like that's the advantage of, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, like starting wide, is like, you can kind of hit all of these areas however you want, but deciding like, oh, I had a really good conversation with this person. This actually seems like an interesting thing to pursue. Okay. Who else can I get in contact with that has a similar focus? Like I was telling you before we started recording, like I was shooting a project. Doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, right? It's a safety training video. All right. But like I got to experience some cool things shooting it. Like I got to meet some people and I got to experience some neat things while I was shooting it. And it was like, that was a lot of fun.
Guys, he went up into a crane.
Yeah. Like
very high into the air.
100 feet off the ground. And it was like, this is awesome. And the guy was like super worried. He was like, are you going to be okay? And I was like, I think I'll be okay. I was like, I am okay with heights. And he's like, are you sure? Because this is like really high. I was like, no, really, I think I'll be okay.
Oh yeah, this is where you and I would have been very different. I would have thrown up just thinking about it.
I told him when I got back on the ground, I was like, I was totally cool, man. I like not even butterflies on that one. But I also, my focus is different, right? Like I'm not looking down at the ground and going like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at a camera the whole time and I'm focused. So like, anyways, but I got back from that. I was like, that was really enjoyable. Maybe I need to start looking up more like safety managers in the area to see if this is something that they need. And so I haven't reached out to any yet, but I've started searching and started like narrowing down the list of people who I'm like, again, it's not just safety managers. It's like, are these people who are doing some interesting things as well?
Yeah. Like, could I get to go up in another crane?
Right. Or like, can I find people? And this is something else I'm learning through like the coaching group is like, can I find people who I can create long-term relationships with? So I'm not just stepping in to make one single video for you. Like I'm stepping in because I see like you could have a need for this type of video, but you're doing a really cool thing. And I think that story could be told too. And so I'm not just lining myself up for a one and done. I'm lining myself up for like, a partnership. You're going to be
their video guy when they're talking to some other Joe Schmo. Like, let me tell you about my video guy.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
John of Unite Creative Co.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So it's been good. Although, like, I will say, like, the the in-person stuff still scares me. So like even like the meeting I had,
the in-person networking, not like when you get there to shoot.
Right. No, yeah. No, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. In-person networking. Like even the meeting I had, like it was like, oh gosh, like what am I going to talk about? And it was fine. It was totally fine. It was a great conversation. But like, I do think that is something that is still difficult because again, you're both showing up kind of knowing that there's interest in doing business. And yet I don't want to sell something to somebody on the first meeting. That's just the kind of person I am. Yeah. And that make me a bad business person, but I don't want to sell them something on the first meeting. So like, there's still some of that tension too, that I'm trying to figure out of like, what's the mindset I walk in with? Yeah. You know?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I mean, I think the last like it wasn't really networking. It kind of was, but anyway, the last meeting I had with like a new person.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, before you were saying you're nervous, I'm like, oh man, I just remember how to talk to grownups. Like, I just remember how to be a professional. Yeah. Like I don't usually talk to other people when I put on my professional hat a whole lot, like outside of actually doing a coaching session.
Yeah.
So all of that was like, okay, how do we do this? And then it was funny because I was like all jazzed.
Yeah.
Through the conversation. I was like, oh man, that was unexpected. So I went from nervous to like, I know how to talk like a grown up.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I think that when because I like, again, like this conversation was great. It was really enjoyable. And like, I could tell I was getting excited to talk about the things that she was asking for my input on. And so I think that that's a really good indicator. Like you're in the right place. Like for you, like you're doing the right thing. You just have to figure out, like, you have to be number one, confident when you walk into the situation and just know that you're doing the right thing. But it's also a good like indicator of like, for the next time, I think like just be confident in who you are and what you're doing. And if they have questions, great. But like, I came prepared for questions too. Like I wanted to make sure that it wasn't about, I initiated the meeting. I wanted to make sure it wasn't about me. Yeah. And about what I could offer. It was about learning who this person was.
That's really good.
And why they're doing what they're doing. And asking questions in a way that was like finding out key information that would be helpful to know eventually for like a potential like sale or contract, but not asking it in a way that was like,
I'm going to put this in a contract right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, what's your pain point? Like, what are you struggling with? Like, what's been working? Those are kinds of questions that like, you need to know the answer to those, but like, you don't want to make it seem like you're just driving the whole train towards like here's your contract. Yeah. So.
It's good, John. I like the nuance.
Yeah.
I definitely struggle with the like, I keep telling people right now that I am a decent social media marketer, but not a good salesperson.
Yeah.
And the thing is with social media marketing is you need a salesperson to close it.
Sure.
And so it's like, I have like a decent sized social media following.
Right.
And it grows.
Yeah.
And like, that's great. But I'm not good at closing it. So.
Which, and maybe it's more about like for you in that, because you are good at like, you're good at forming communities. But maybe it's like finding a couple people within that community that are really the people that you want to talk to on like a one-to-one. Yeah. Like we were talking about, like those are your one-to-one people who, those are the people you can coach. Yeah. Right. But you are good at like, you're good at that community building part. And
getting people to talk back on social media is the hard part too for networking.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why like doing LinkedIn is great because usually people respond back unless you're me. Yeah. And then you send me an inbox message about growing my clientele and I'm like, I don't want to.
Oh, well, I don't respond to spammy stuff either.
There's so much spammy stuff. So way to not be spammy.
Yeah, there's a lot of spam. But I do, and I think, I don't know. I'm not like social media adept enough to like say like, well, can you take this person that you on Instagram and then message them on LinkedIn and be like, start a completely different side conversation. Maybe that would work. I don't know. But like, I don't know the ground rules of that or if that's allowed.
I do think of all the places, Instagram and LinkedIn probably have the least amount of crossover.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
People go on Instagram and they want to post pictures of like their food and beautiful sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never thought about that. I think that'd be good. And a lot of people do have conversations like in the direct messages of Instagram and everything. Right. But there is like a bit of bristliness about like, oh, now you're trying to sell me something. I thought we were just friends. Yeah. And that has happened a few times. But it's like, I'll have somebody ask me a question and I'll be like, man, I'd love to get into this with you.
Right. Right.
Whenever you're ready for coaching.
Right. Right.
Like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
You know?
Which that's a tough line for coaches, I feel like, because you want to offer things that are free, but you also want to make money, so you can't offer everything for free.
Yeah. And there's just some things that you only have so many characters in a direct message on Instagram anyway. Yeah. So there are also going to be those times that it's like, well, this is a very nuanced conversation that you're asking for.
This is not the place for it.
This is not the medium.
Yeah.
Do charge outside of
but
this medium.
I do feel like that's important, an important boundary in life for you to draw though too. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's good.
It is. So yeah, I'm definitely, I live my life in the large concentric circle that we talked about of yours in the beginning. And so it's like getting narrowed down a little bit more. That has been my challenge.
Okay. So that's an interesting point because you live your business life in the large concentric circle, but you live your personal life in that tiny one.
That's very true. I do.
So that's kind of interesting. But again, like you are good at building out those communities. So maybe it's just, again, just trying to find the smaller connecting point with a few of those people.
Which I do think there's probably a tipping point with social media.
Sure.
Where that stuff starts to happen.
Yeah.
And so I think that's also kind of where I am.
Okay.
Is like there's a little bit, like there's more conversations happening.
Yeah.
On the back end and stuff like that. But then I do things like take July off because I'm tired and my children are here all the time and, so then I slow down my own momentum. But, but
that's important. I mean, honestly, like.
It's the example I want to set too.
Right.
It's not all grind, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing about networking. The meeting that I had with this person, we're both in the Chamber of Commerce, and part of what she was telling me was like, she wasn't sure if it was worth her investment for another year. Because she's actually been to some networking events. And I'm like, well, I can like usually never go to a networking event because it's just not
small kids time.
Small kid time. Yeah. And so I think that's another good point is like, that's just the season I'm in. I can't force myself. I could. You could. I could force myself to do those things, but
then the soul part of your business would die off.
Right. How can I not compromise that part and also continue to find some sort of network, right? That I can continue to build and nurture. And part of it, I think, is this, which is like finding people or businesses that my interest is piqued, reaching out in like individually and doing like one-on-one meetings and just trying to go from there and see what happens. Because I think, even that one meeting led to, a connection to another videographer in the area who, he and I are not focused on the same things. So, if he has people come to him who's like, I need
a safety video.
Well, I got you. I got a guy and I can do the same thing for, so I think some of that's some of that too, where it's like, other businesses aren't your competition necessarily. Like they can actually be another like marketing tool.
Right. Being able to pass somebody off when they're not the right fit for you is an important thing.
Yeah. So, which is also why I want to connect you with the person I met. Yeah. It's like you're both coaches, but you're focused on different things. Especially now that you know that you don't want to coach educators.
Somebody didn't want to coach educators.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But I just head to the mic.
I did a little bit. It's fine. We'll talk about niches one day when I'm ready.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So I think where we were headed, honestly, is a really good segue to our little teaser.
Yeah.
Because I feel like taking your broadness and narrowing it down, Bonni, is exactly what we're trying to do. And it's not just your broadness, it's mine too, but because we're doing it together.
The broadness.
But yeah, do you want to tell the people what we've been brainstorming?
Yeah. Okay. So we've been brainstorming a way for us to find like-minded individuals, aka Enneagram 9 entrepreneurs who are building businesses with soul.
That's you, probably, if you're listening.
Yeah. If you happen to find us.
Or you're, a relative who's really kind and listens all the time.
Thanks.
Or something like that.
Or you're Sydney Wilson.
Hi, Sydney.
But yeah, we are talking about wanting to get us together on the internet because John and I get a lot of life out of doing this together.
Yeah.
And we, here's the thing. John and I do spend a lot of time together in general because we're close friends and our kids are friends and all of that stuff. But this brings a different kind of life, right? You would say?
Yeah, because number one, our kids aren't here. So there's some extra life right there.
Number one, yes. But then also we have this great way of making each other not feel crazy about where we are in our businesses.
Yes.
And so, and that's also not something that even comes up like when we're together, with our spouses too.
Right.
Our spouses give us the raised eyebrow look every time we're like, I'm a failure. They both raise their eyebrows at us like, here we go again.
We have
These two.
We have great spouses in the sense that they think that we are wonderful business owners.
Yeah. Then we have one existential crisis after the other. And that's where we validate one another.
Yes.
So anyway, we're toying around. It's going to be called Work Like a Nine. And it's just going to be like a co-working group. But we're going to set it up in a way that allows you to have a very clear time. Like, this is your turn to talk. Because we nines need that permission.
Like, we want you to be able to share without it having to be off the cuff, unless you really have something in the moment where you're like, I got to get this out. But
we nines need the permission.
We need permission, and we need, honestly, you almost need to have something on a schedule, on a calendar that says today I get to share.
Yes.
Because then honestly, you can build up to that. You can expect it. You can know it's coming. It's not a surprise, and you can be prepared.
Yep.
And I think that for me, I know that for me is number one, sometimes it brings some dread because I know it's coming, but also there's some relief because it's I don't have to think about does this mean enough for me to throw it out right now? Because you're going to have your space to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So really what we're trying to solve is entrepreneurship, especially when you're building and starting fresh, is lonely.
Yeah.
Very lonely, especially in the post-COVID work from home, digital, worldwide connected era. You can talk to anyone. So you talk to no one.
Yep.
And so we're trying to solve this problem by just introducing you to similarly motivated individuals, because that is what we nines all share, is a similar set of motivations.
Yeah.
But also an additional motivation of hey, you want to build a business with soul, because hustle isn't always great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fine. We got to do it sometimes, but also we don't want to murder our own souls.
Right.
Okay. So here's our launch date. You ready?
Ready.
Insert drum roll. Maybe you can
do a real one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now insert the sound bit drum roll. September 18th, 2023.
2023.
At 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we will begin this venture.
Yeah.
That is as detailed as we can get for you right now.
Yeah, we are still going to work on some other details. But we are setting ourselves a deadline.
Yeah.
And we're setting ourselves a time for launch. So we're going to do probably a couple more podcasts specifically about some of our motivations behind it, some of the reasons why we're doing it, also just some of the more technical details about what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
How it's going to feel.
Plus what we can bring.
So, yeah. So, because we want to bring value for you, and we want you to feel like it's a space that is worth coming to.
Yeah. My ultimate goal is for you to walk away from Work Like a Nine the way that John and I feel after we talk it out on this podcast in front of all of you on the internet.
Yep.
So that'll be the goal.
Yeah.
Which is good feels.
It's good feels. It's validation. It's encouragement. It's little motivation for what's left of the day.
Yeah. It's true. Usually walk out of here with okay,
I got something
I can
to
continue.
do. Yeah.
I will not close down the LLC and pay the fee to the state of Maryland. We can do it.
Yeah. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. Save the date, September 18th. If you're interested and you're listening to this, what I want you to do is to go to my website, which is linked in the show notes, and send me a contact form.
Okay, cool.
That's what we'll say at this point.
Yeah.
And by our next episode releasing, we will have a real place that is EntrepreNINES-centric for you to go and show interest and or sign up.
Yes, there will be something official.
Including cost, including time investment, including all that stuff.
Perfect.
We'll be there. So
perfect.
Yay, new things.
That's fun. I also told Bonni we're just starting another business, which she went, oh.
Not because I don't want to hang out with you guys, but because of how I feel about my own capabilities.
Yeah.
At times.
But do you know what we are now?
What?
We are serial entrepreneurs, Bonni.
Serial entrepreneurs.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But for real, I mean, like, I think that people with businesses, people with entrepreneurial minds, even those who don't consider themselves entrepreneurial minds.
Yeah, we forget sometimes.
Yeah. When a new idea comes and you're ready to put it out in the world, hey, you just made another business.
Boom. So here it goes.
Yeah. Anyways, so we're excited about it and excited to hang out with you guys and learn from you and hopefully bring a lot of value for you guys too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Happy networking out there.
Yeah.
It is hard, but I hope that you remember that you've got your big, broad network and you can start to hone in.
Yeah.
So identify which of those circles you're in and then maybe jump into some other ones. That's what John has inspired me to do today. Yeah.
And I would say just don't feel like you have to overstretch yourself to do it either. Like you can step into a new circle and not have to be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because you can take it one at a time. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right, friends.
Sweet.
All of our stuff is on the show notes and you can say hello. We would love it. We love it when you say hello.
Yeah. I would love to know if you want to leave us a voicemail, because we'll try it again. We'll just keep trying it. As long as it's available to us, we're going to try this junks. I would love to know if you like identified with a certain subtype and what it is and why. Just from that brief description, you identified with that particular subtype.
I love it.
So, yeah, leave us a rating and review so other people can find us. And with that being said, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.